Alright, welcome back everyone, and welcome to Hour 4, Game 3. I am First Name Big. Welcome back to Scarlet League number 3, where we are going to be showing you today's next Losers Bracket game. This is a more late version in the bracket. We've got Cheese Disciples versus Curbstampin. Curbstampin just won their game up against Burninators at the beginnings of the Losers Bracket, and she just got kicked down after a crushing defeat. So we're going to see who comes out ahead in this game, as we're still just waiting in the lobby, and we are already on the way to Champ Select and Bans. So let's see how each team kind of plays this out. Alright, we see the Vi band come out fairly early. So it looks like they're LeBlanc band on the part of Curbstampin. And we're not firing through bands like we've seen somewhat earlier. It looks like the teams are starting to get a bit more competitive with their bands. We see the Scion band come down as well on the part of Team Chi. Now I see a Lee Sin band come down. These are seeming like some fairly standard bands here. They're trying to get out that mobility and the damage out of that jungle, and they're also trying to get away the mid lane pressure away from Team G. Looks like they're also trying to get away some of the tank that they might have had some trouble with in the past. And yep, there goes the Sejuani band. Looks like Team Chi is trying their best to try and keep people on the enemy team as squishy as they can. They're trying to keep down on the high engage with the Vi and the Sejuani and the power in the jungle to be able to get through it quickly and still be able to engage. And finally is the Morgana band on a part of Team Curbstampin. So they're just trying to kind of spread it across the board where they're going. We'll see how that works out for them. Now we're seeing a Draven come in, Team Chi there. And still hovering over Select, but looks like an Ahri and a Trundle for Curbstampin. So they are able to get out some of that more tank engage that they're getting out, that Team Chi was trying to ban away. They're going with this Trundle. He doesn't have any hard CC engage like the Sejuani does, but he is still able to close gaps fairly quickly, and he is able to put down a lot of damage while keeping his health up. And there it is, so that's the lock. And now we're seeing more picks come in. We're seeing both a Quinn and a Gnar lined up, but we'll see whether or not they actually stick with it. Alright, and instead of Gnar, we see a Janna come down. So it looks like we're going to see a Janna and Draven coming out in the bot lane, the Quinn in top. So they're going to get quite some power down with some good escape and engage coming out thanks to that Janna. But being able to run up and just kind of do whatever damage they want to people, thanks to that Quinn and her engage with Valor, I can kind of see why they really did not want that Scion, Vi, and Sejuani in the game. They are preparing to go ham. Alright, we see another Lulu start to come out. We haven't seen much Lulu before, but we did just see one last game with Kaboom. It did not turn out too well for them in mid. Let's see if Team Curbstampin can make it work for them a little bit stronger as support. And a Nidalee coming in for jungle. Very strong jungler right now. It's going to prove to be very very difficult for Team Curbstampin to deal with all this damage coming out. As far as supports and ADCs looking like going, it looks like we're going to see a Draven and a Janna versus Jinx and a Lulu. Now, Draven's going to be able to trade pretty well with the Jinx as long as he is able to get up close to that Jinx and deal the damage that he needs to. Which, since they didn't pick a very tanky support there with that Lulu, she may get the shield off on her ally, but she's not going to be able to do much for peeling that Draven off of her own carry. This is going to be a very violent bot game. Very violent bot lane. And we see the Draven, Yasuo come out on Team Chi. Finally a Gangplank on Team Curbstampin. So we are seeing double teleport top again, so both these players are planning on being able to roam and actually get engaged. We've been seeing that a lot in most of today's games. A few of them, the few that we've seen that haven't had double teleport top, those have been incredibly different gameplay styles. We saw them absolutely turn around entire games and just take advantage and press it without being able to have that presence. So now that both teams have this presence in the top lane to be able to beat anywhere on the map, we're going to see a lot more defensive plays, we're going to see a lot more aggression from both teams. There's a very strong set of engage and poke on Team Chi's part, but there's a lot more tank and poke on Team Curbstampin's part. We've got the Nidalee Spears and the Yasuo and the Quinn versus basically the Gangplank and the Jinx and the Ahri. That Draven is going to come up from the behind, and it is going to do a lot of damage for their team, but if he gets himself caught out in the front line of it, in the thick of it, he's going to get himself in a lot of trouble really quick. We just got a minute 30 left until we get to our loading screens. And we're seeing fairly even builds across. We're seeing double heal. We're seeing heal come across from both teams in the bot lane. We're seeing our supports both go with us. We're not seeing anything terribly out of the average. What's going to be most interesting is seeing just how well we're going to see that Lulu be able to peel that Draven off of her Jinx. The Yasuo versus Ahri is going to be an interesting lane. Once he gets the wind wall up, that he'll be able to protect himself from that Q, so he'll have quite a bit of good defense up against any sort of engage, because they're going to have to land her Q if that Trundle's gank is going to mean anything. So all that Yasuo has to do is be able to make sure he lands that wind wall, and he is going to be out swiftly. We'll see just how much tank Team Curbstampin is able to actually lay down with the Trundle in their Gangplank. Maybe if we're lucky, we're going to go ahead and get to see some trolling crit plank this game. So Team Chi is fairly new into this lower bracket. Team Curbstampin got here after just the first round, after their defeat to Kaboom. And then they picked up another win, so they are fighting for their right to get back into the third slot. As far as the border game goes, we're seeing 2 plats come out on part of Team Chi, and we're seeing 2 plats and a diamond come out on part of Team Curbstampin. So it looks like we're going to see actually a little bit of play in favor of Team Curbstampin, but they did get kicked out in the first round, so this is going to be probably a fairly evenly matched team. We're going to see how this plays out. This is going to boil down to the mechanics of each team, and hopefully we're also going to see some better placement and map awareness. And it looks like only the Quinn is the one playing on a toaster today. Thankfully, there's only one. Starting this game only 20 minutes behind this time, so we're starting to catch up. It'll be very interesting to see what these teams decide to start with. The Nidalee is going to want to start probably with her blue, whereas the Trundle is probably going to want to start with his red. Neither team really has a composition that's really going to lend for an invade, but if either team decides to, we could be in for some very interesting level 1 team fight. Depending on what the Ahri starts with, it's definitely going to be her orb, but if she decided to start with her charm, there could be quite a bit of suppression coming down onto the enemy team. And looks like the Quinn is finally ready to join the game, and we are about to hit the rift. I spoke too soon. Draven is undoubtedly going to go for as much power as he can level 1 in order to try and burst down and poke this Jinx. As Lulu is we're going to have to see whether or not she's going to start with her Q to harass to try and peel, or whether she's going to start with her shield in order to protect her Jinx. But Team Chi is definitely going to present a bit of a very harsh matchup against Kaboom in the bot lane. Alright, we're finally onto the rift, and we see the team start with their purchasing, and we're getting pretty standard trinket distribution here, and unless you're the Janna, and you totally forgot your trinket! Classic support.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Alright. Our Team Chi moving already very aggressively, very quick. They are all together. And already we have lots of vision placed down, and Team Chi is seen already as they're preparing to try and take blue. They are preparing to invade. Oh, and we take a long range here on the support Lulu, which is not. They get the Q for that stun, and is it going to be enough to get any sort of action? Not quite. Ah, if they landed that spear, that could have been an early game kill at only 1 minute in, but no. Team Chi is... That Draven is just taunting his positioning, and they are letting it known that they are in place, and they are owning this jungle. With their early poke spent, they are actually retreating out, as they are not going to bother trying to take control of that blue. But they are starting to back off and get themselves better into another position. Looks like the Nidalee is actually going to be starting Krugs. She's going to be going for the attack and that stun instead of going for the ability to keep spamming her abilities with with those spears and that incredibly high damage Cougar form. Alright, both teams off to standard leashes, and we see already some good poke coming down on mid lane, where we see our Ahri try and poke down the Yasuo, but it is mostly absorbed by his shield. It's too early to tell anything for sure, but both games are working on their positioning and playing very aggressively. There goes that Draven down with the damage that we were looking for. And he is actually focusing the support because she is the one who is closest, and he gets to lay it down because that Lulu did start with her Q. She did not start with that shield, and she just cannot protect herself or her teammate. And there goes the exhaust down on the ADC, but it's not going to do anything. They just walk away from it, and they get a couple more auto attacks off on that Lulu. This bot lane is going so hyper-aggressive. And there comes in the level 2 power spike, and Draven tries to go for it, but he does not pick anything up after that tornado bonks Jinx. There are Qs all the way across mid lane here, and just poke, poke, poke all day long. Alright, back to mid lane, and we see the Yasuo with the level 3 engage, but it is not going to do anything for him, as the Ahri then turns back around and decides to poke right back with it once his shield's down. Top lane's looking pretty even with the Gangplank only 1 CS down. However, in the bot lane, we're seeing that the Draven is 8 CS ahead of the Jinx already, at only 3.5 minutes in. Blue team has their vision up in the jungle, so they are prepared for when that Trundle's going to finally come by. But that's not going to be a couple more misses at red, and there goes the Draven with another engage against that Lulu, and Lulu goes down pretty low, but they are still under tower, and he cannot finish it. Goes in for another poke, and he lands another spinning blade. That Lulu is down to just over 300 health, and it is going to be dangerous for her to stick around. Trundle tries visiting top lane, but Cheese Quinn is warding. And so that Trundle really has nowhere he can go without being seen right now. And as we're going to start to see... Oh, and Trundle gets the crab, and he comes in for the gank anyway, even through the Quinn's vision, and he does what he can to put down the hurt on the Quinn. But she is able to Q away herself. And bot lane Draven's going and taking tower damage, but it's not going to be enough, and Trundle gets smited. And it goes down, and Quinn goes down as well. It is still each. Gangplank gets the Nidalee, and Quinn gets the Trundle. As both of the laners kill each other's junglers, they still retain in the lane. Ahri walks around the wind wall to poke Yasuo, and it looks like she came out ahead of that trade. Oh, and there comes down the Ignite, and Ahri gets the kill! That Ahri has been quite a match for that Yasuo so far. She is ahead in CS and now up a kill, as she's gonna just keep pushing it, but the Nidalee is gonna keep her from doing so for too long. So recently saw a back. We didn't see any kills, but we did see a lot of CS advantage on Draven's part. Managed to go back, fill up on pots and a pickaxe, and walk back to lane. Before they can get back, looks like Team Curbstampin's gonna try and push into tower, but they won't even be able to make it. They are just too far below. They already don't even have a level advantage. They are a full level down. Draven comes in and just starts spinning his axes and knocking down CS left and right, and this is just going to start to... And here we come in with the Nidalee coming in with the smite, and he's going to try and grab the Ahri, but it's not enough because Ahri finally has her ult. And then we see a TP in from Gangplank, who is going to try and get that Nidalee again. Is he going to get her? No! She flashes and leaps away in Kuka form, and it is not enough. Same damage coming down in bot lane. We see the Draven rushing axe after axe. Is he going to get a kill? No, he's not. Yes, he gets one on the Lulu, but is it going to be enough on the Jinx? Can Jinx poke him down? Is it going to be enough? One last axe, and he gets it! He takes a tower hit, but it does not phase him. That Draven just got himself a double kill, and they turn right back around to get the Trundle, who decided to walk in on lane on them. And how many axes can he land? There are more axes in this game than there is in a B-class horror movie. Bot lane is not going anywhere fast as Draven and Janna back to spend their well-earned gold. He picks up a BF sword. Gangplank pushing the tower, but CSing quite well. Already 3-2 in G's favor, but we do see mid lane going to Ahri in this one. So it looks like Curbstampin is really having some trouble in one lane. Top lane is too close to tell just yet. They both have a single kill. There's only 10 CS difference. But the Gangplank has already spent his teleport. If that Quinn still has it available, so if she sees a chance, she will be able to make a play and might be able to pull herself ahead. Plenty of vision down from both teams. We see Gangplank with the defensive in his own try and Quinn in the river, so she's planning on pushing up, but she is just not able to because that Gangplank is keeping her off of it. So Quinn will be pushed into a bit safer of a position, and Gangplank's going to be pushed out, and he won't have the wards necessary. As the junglers pass off their buffs to their respective mid lanes. We're starting to see plenty of action come down in bot lane here. Even the mid laners are coming in to try and circle around Dragon. And as we see it finally come down, we see some engage on the part of team... And there it goes. No, there's the kill. Draven gets it on Jinx, and Draven gets another one on Lulu. And can he make the triple? No, the Trundle gets away. They just cannot engage anymore down bot. They're trying to pick off whatever kills they can, and it's not working out for them because that Draven is too fed and too skilled at his positioning. Oh, and Ahri comes in and picks up the kill on that low health Janna, who's scouting for vision while they try and take the dragon. It's not going to stop the dragon, but that Janna did lose her life. That Ahri is going to harass that Yasuo as much as she can. She lands the charm, and can she land another orb? And she lands the orb, and it misses the wind wall, and she goes in for everything she can, but it's not enough because that Yasuo has his... Oh wait, no, flash under tower to get it, and she misses that long-range Q. Too much escape, not enough chase. Quite a weird thing to say when you're talking about Ahri. As we see, practically every ward in the game is in river surrounding Dragon. We'll see just how important that becomes in the past as the Ahri attempts to back right in front of Nidalee, and instead she charms her and gets herself a kill! She could take that blue right now entirely uncontested, but the Yasuo is coming back to make sure she does not. And as the Trundle comes back up top, tries to get in the Quinn whatever he can, and he just puts down a couple of hits and a bite, and then he leaves. He does not want to risk it as he is still 0-1. Not much better. We see the Nidalee is in 2 now. Bot lane contention. Draven has already finished his IE, and Jinx has not put a Vamp Scepter. While the CS count has gotten closer, that Draven is 4-0 against that Jinx's 0-2. Oh, and here comes the Yasuo under Ahri's own tower. Is it going to be enough? And no, it is not, because he cannot sustain the damage that he was taking from the tower. Thankfully, with the Janna ult, he was able to get out alive. So will the Ahri. Just 11 minutes into this game, we see that there is a 2k gold difference in favor of Team Chi. Curbstampin, their bot lane is losing very hard, and they're starting to play more defensively. They're starting to get the more defensive wards out. They've got it in their tri-bush instead of in the river, but this is not going to set them up for doing very much else. And the Draven goes in. He ignores the tower that is still, flashes over the grenades, and he goes in with his axes, tries to pick up a kill, but he can't do it just yet. Gets one more hit in, and he picks up the Lulu. Oh no, but Jinx manages to take down the Johnny. He has no more support, and he is up against an Ahri as well. And no, he cannot do it. She manages to take him down, grabs that Draven, puts him back in his place, and grabs herself a nice kill. Ahri is putting Curbstampin on her back, carrying the team at 4-0. Oh, and here comes again with that charm, getting that kill for Jinx. How nice of her to share the love. But Nidalee is down. And Gangplank is showing no respect for this Quinn, as he is just pushing her away like crazy. We see him with the Avarice Blade and with the Sheen. We might see some crit plank yet, but he is showing no respect for this Quinn. Here comes the Yasuo for the gank. Gangplank flashes away. Is that going to be enough? Are they still going to try and engage? We see all come down for Quinn. But Valor is not enough to catch up to Gangplank, as he just backs under tower laughing. Team Curbstampin is really showing a lot more play potential than... Oh, and here we go with the engage once we got just a single Hurricane, and then we get the axes down from Draven, but the Zhonya's, the early Zhonya's at 12 minutes from Ahri is enough to save her life. And the Draven cannot get away from the Trundle, and the Trundle picks himself up a kill, only to be murdered by the Nidalee. And then we see the Janna come in, pick it up, and the Yasuo's going in for another kill up against the Ahri, gets the Ignite, and he does it! Manages to escape that last tower shot. And we finally see a 1 for 3 in favor of Chi, where we finally see some kills on some other players. Quinn's pushing down that tower as fast as she can, because this is all she can do right now. That Gangplank has been harassing her too much all game. Although it's about the same CS and kill-wise, there's only a couple of CS difference. She has not bought yet when Gangplank just did, and she has just generally been very afraid of him all game, as she probably should be. He is not something to take lightly. She keeps pushing, manages to poke down with that zap. Both teams are going to start to set up here for the next dragon, which is coming up in just a minute. But we see Chi has all of the vision. They have 2 pinks and 2 wards in Dragon Pit, whereas Chi doesn't have anything yet. It looks like the Lulu's going in to place that first ward, which is not going to be visible to any of the pinks. Both teams are going to want this. Lulu can't stick around to take care of the ward. Apparently, Janna can't be bought to take care of that regular site ward either. Gangplank, tired of Quinn's pushing, is doing his own. He is just waiting for the minions to get within last hit range, and he's queuing them. Red buff passed on to Draven, so he is going to hurt even more. He is a soul-reaving truck. Alright, we finally start to see some team grouping as the dragon comes down. We see that charm, which does not do much for the team. And we see the Gangplank ult, which Ahri is going to use her ult, her Zhonya's, just so she can ult back on her tower. Ult again farther away on her tower. Janna ult comes down to try and help the team. Not going to do much. They are only going to get a kill on Trundle. Not much happening, but is it going to be enough for them to be able to safely take Dragon? They are fairly low, and there is still a lot of damage on the part of Team Curbstampin. Oh, that crit coming down from Gangplank, really showing that Nidalee how it's done. And Lulu has to ult herself, but unfortunately, oh, and takes a spear to the face, and Nidalee gets herself another kill. And Gangplank comes in, and we see flashes drop, but it is not enough. Oh, Yasuo comes in trying to 1v1 that Gangplank until it becomes a 4v1, and Gangplank gets rolled. Little toy soldier forgot to wind up. And Team Chi isn't even going to bother with the dragon. They're going to back right now. They are too low to deal with its damage. We're at 16 minutes, and it's still only a 3k gold difference. 4-kill lead in favor of Team Chi. We are really seeing the type of play that we would be expecting out of Team Chi here. A team that won 2 games in a row and is now on won 2 games in a row and only lost their 3rd game in the round, versus Team Curbstampin, who lost their 1st game but then managed to win in the 2nd. So now we're seeing that this is going to be maybe closer for their money than Team Chi was hoping for. They've got the advantage for right now, but it is not big. Team Curbstampin has been able to hold on to their lead. They're even clearing vision, and they're setting up to be able to take control of this dragon. Curbstampin comes down on them with the Draven ult, and it is too much damage. Nilly picks herself up a kill, and they secure their 2nd dragon, and that is just too much. Still though, now it's up to almost a 4k gold lead. Team Curbstampin could pull this out if they keep their positioning, but they do not keep their positioning enough because that Ahri is getting too ballsy. That Gangplank is just eating his oranges, and it was K. Quinn is trying what she can to push him off, but he is just sitting there and queuing all day long. And Draven picks himself up another kill and dropped the exhaust, but thanks to the Flame Chompers, and they might not be able to catch up. Wait, here it comes. One more axe down. Can he land one more? Not quite, because he's got to drop it on the Gangplank, but he's still chasing. He flashes in because he wants a piece of the action. Can't grab it. Draven gets a double kill in less than half a second. Alright, get some cleanup from Lulu, gets a revenge kill on that Janna, but it is not going to be enough. Cleaning up the vision in their jungle. And the Draven backs in the safety under his own tower. Team Chi is really starting to pull it ahead. They're making this lead work for them. Team Curbstampin has been able to hold on as long as they can, but they're starting to fall behind a little bit further. If they're able to keep their positioning and stay out of their own jungle, then maybe we're going to see them turn it around. And joining me now, we have another caster from our repertoire.
The Speed Cat.
Alright, and now we are going to take a look at and we are seeing the rush down the mid lane. We have a veritable truck of axes just pushing it down. Italy spears coming down faster than Lulu lances could even dream of being on the field. And they trying to put damage on the tower. It's very dangerous to engage on these guys right now. They may have a definitive lead, but if they push it too thin, if they put themselves in a too dangerous a situation, they are going to get themselves shut down. They realize this. They're playing aggressive, unsafe suit. Got their Quinn in, and Draven is taking tower hits. That is not a good for him. Ahri managed to ult in. Oh, and Janna goes down.
That's a 1 for nothing.
Jinx gets herself out, sub 100 health. Like once the minions meet in the middle, both teams are going to try and turn it around, and Yasuo is going up against the Quinn wall. And he's, on the spear again. And this turret is going down really fast again. And there goes the Draven with a tower and a kill on the Gangplank. That Draven is just trucking too much damage from the hand. He's 10-2, and almost the most CS champ of the game. Team Curbstampin is trying really hard to grasp onto whatever handles they can. They have not been able to lay down anything. Can't make anything stick. They really need to start turning.
Curbstampin's only chance is to take out Draven at the beginning of a fight.
Without any hard engage, really, aside from that charm from Ahri, there's really not much else they can do. Unless they're going to pray for a crit from Gangplank.
Way to start off the fight. But It's just not reliable. We'll see how this goes.
With Baron newly live and Drag coming up at just 30, we are going to see that both teams start to gravitate back towards Dragon. Team G is going to want their third. They really don't need any more, but they've been playing it very safe this game, and undoubtedly they are going to try and grab every single little handhold they can on this ladder to victory. Maybe outperforming their competitors right now, but they certainly still do respect and fear the damage that they're capable of. Quinn keeping your tower alive as best as you can, fighting off this Gangplank. Gangplank is in turn still... No, he is letting the Quinn push back because here comes the Trundle. We're going to get a gank down, and a Yasuo coming in behind for this Trundle. There's going to be a two-way sandwich coming down. Both teams engaging at the same time. Can the Quinn go down? No! Quinn wall does nothing to the Yasuo, and he tries to dash away, goes over and goes in because he's got nothing left.
With his ult and gets taken down.
Draven going with those 1,000 damage crits. Draven is putting down too much damage for this Jinx to handle. A full item ahead of her. There really isn't much she can do.
Looks like
they're setting up for Dragon.
3 seconds. Ready for Dragon? This is going to go down so fast with that Draven damage.
And there goes an entire farm that Dragon's helped with one axe. And, yeah, there goes the damage. Dragon gets the damage down this way. And the Lula tries to engage, but is just going to be a punching bag.
Going to go down.
Oh, Draven
could be a turn.
Draven drops to Gangplank. And then we see the Gangplank take them on, just standing there, fighting and healing some oranges, but it wasn't K. He goes down to the Quinn. Ari turns it back around, tries to fight, but she ends up getting ignited, and that's going to be Yasuo going for the kill.
Going to be the ace. Yasuo taking down Ari. And they got down Draven, but they couldn't deal with the rest of the team.
That was a 2 for 5 and a dragon. That was incredibly in G's favor. We are seeing a 10k lead now. We're approaching the point where most ranked games that at 20 minutes, once you reach this goal differential, there is only about a 5% chance that you can actually still turn this around.
In fact, most games you can see some takes a 1v2. Is he going to come out with kills on this?
He is being too indecisive. Looks back and forth, and he goes into a Draven. And that is going to be a triple down because Vision in that tri-bush. Ari comes in trying to snap down that Quinn. She's not going to have enough damage. Oh, wait, no, yes, she does. She gets it. But she is going to be coming out very low. And here comes the Draven with another kill on the Lulu. That Lulu, unfortunately, might have been worth a little less than a minion, being 1 and 8.
Ari clears a ward.
Kill their parents. Yes. And the Lulu. And yes, back against that Gangplank. And we see this down.
Just outnumbered.
And we see Nidalee actually pick up that kill, which is... We'll see if she can make use of it. But Yasuo could use a little more damage since he needs to get close into a cage. But he's making
Yasuo is playing the support champion right now. He's getting it himself and locking people up for his team. He's got plenty of damage coming out of Draven, Quinn, Nidalee. In fact, they have nothing but damage.
in a game where they banned as many tanks as they could, you're really trying to think that maybe they would have tried to pick up something at least a little tanky, even if they didn't have that Sejuani available to them. Team Curbstampin really needed it, and the Trundle just isn't enough of it. Because he doesn't have that engaged compared to tankiness, and he's... even with that Thornmail, he just isn't enough. Whoa, and we see Spear come down the right. Despite and that Blackbeard instantly goes in. And Sweet Knight gets out of 200. Wind goes in and manages to destroy that Jinx. Coming in, can they pop the Gangplank? Can he do it? And the Quinn gets the Ahri instead, not the Gangplank, but she gets it for a double kill. And they manage to take control of Team Curbstampin's blue.
He dies on Cheese side. It was an excellent engage. Looks like they're going to be picking up this bot lane tier 2 tower.
The Jinx and the Ahri are still down for about 15 seconds. They will probably be able to take down this inhibitor turret.
So much damage on the team.
That Draven needs to hit it twice. He is a truck.
It's down to half already.
Without a minion wave, that Draven is apparently still going to just walk in and take some power damage, but he can't take it for too long, otherwise he is going to use that damage. If they get rid of him, Curbstampin does have his chance still. Oh, no, they realize that they have more than 50 seconds to Dragon's up, and so they book it out of there since they don't have the minion advantage anymore, and they are instead setting up to be able to take out their 4th dragon. They are climbing up this wall, one handhold at a time, and even though it's evened out and it's more of a visual block for them, they are still taking damage. Oh, and another team fight engages, but it is too spread out too fast. Everyone scatters.
The Trundle Pillar is amazing.
Dodges the Q, but and the tornado cannot dodge the spike after the safely this entire game, and I don't think they're necessarily going to stop now. Wait, no, they are in fact putting down the hurt on that Nexus turret, and they get one turret,
Nexus
and
turret goes down. Onslaught heals up the team.
As they disengage.
Trundle laughs at them. Quinn teleports out.
Back to top lane so she can get herself fed. Finally getting herself some kills and some more CS, and all her team gets that.
It's only 30 minutes, and Team Chi already has 4 dragons. The 5th one will just seal the deal. There's no way Curbstampin will be able to survive. She has a 5 dragon buff.
She's also playing smart for now. They don't have anything up around Baron, so that would be the other caveat. If Curbstampin wanted to win, they would need to either steal and or clean up after a bad Baron push on Chi's part, but they are not making any indication that they even want it.
Curbstampin could run around right now, but they don't have vision either. Nobody does.
Both teams are too close in the mid lane. And looks like wards are starting to come down around Baron, actually. We see the pink ward dropped by Janna up in the pit, and we see Gangplank up in his own try. Janna's clearing out the wards from that. Gangplank worked so hard for that 30 gold. That Gangplank's paycheck is upsetting.
Disengages Trundle from...
keeps him from losing another. Oh, and we see the Draven go toe-to-toe. Not enough to pick up a kill. Gangplank almost certainly is dead. There goes the Draven Grid. And that's games. Down to Nidalee. Draven pushes in. They have 2 inhibitors down. They have 6 minions.
Got a 5
And they're going up to try and reverse that, but Ari, they are just poking, and that Draven goes in to scare them. He does what he can.
And they get another 2 kills. This looks like it's going to be the game.
Nexus Tower is starting to go down. Teams are starting to fight for
Kills.
Tower finally goes down, and then they start focusing the towers. And that is match!
Good game.
In a shy 32 minutes, 36 to 15, with a 17,000 gold league, we see Team Chi beat out Curbstampin in the losers bracket.
Coming out victorious.
Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to be back. We should have been back in 2 minutes, but seeing as this game just finished, we're going to be back in probably about another 20 with our next match, where we will be starting to cast the big final 4 games in our winners bracket.